What if the greatest comeback in figure skating history happened the same week that the sport's biggest new star walked the Met Gala red carpet and absolutely nobody talked about both of them together? That's exactly what happened, and you need to hear this story. Two American figure skaters, two completely different stages, one week that changed the entire conversation around what it means to be an athlete in 2026. This is the story of Alysa Liu and Ilia Malinin and the 7 days that turned both of them into something bigger than sport. But here's the thing. To understand why this week mattered so much, you have to understand what came before it. And what came before it for both of them was devastating. Let's go back to February, Milan, Italy, the 2026 Winter Olympics. Ilia Malinin arrived in Milan as the most dominant figure skater on the planet, two-time world champion, the inventor of the quadruple axel, the hardest jump ever executed in competition. He had gone nearly 2 full years without losing a single elite competition. Analysts, coaches, and fans around the world agreed if Malinin was going to lose at these Olympics, it would be the upset of the century. He was that far ahead of everyone else. He finished 8th. 8th, the reigning world champion, the man they called the quad god, 8th place. He fell twice in the free skate, including on jumps he had landed thousands of times in practice. Walking off that ice, Malinin did something remarkable. Before speaking to a single reporter, before processing his own shock, he walked directly to the gold medalist and congratulated him. The crowd saw it, the cameras caught it, and the skating world quietly exhaled. But the pain was real. Malinin told NBC, "I blew it. There's no way that just happened." Now pivot to Alysa Liu. Same Olympics, different story. At just 20 years old, Liu became only the second American woman in a generation to win Olympic gold in individual figure skating, the first since Sarah Hughes in 2002. She didn't just win, she dominated. She skated in a gold dress and walked away with a gold medal to match. Overnight, 8 million people followed her on Instagram. The mayor of Oakland handed her the key to the city. Louis Vuitton came calling. Teen Vogue put her on the cover. What had taken most athletes years to build, Liu built in 11 days in Milan. But even for Liu, there was a question nobody was quite ready to ask yet. What does an Olympic gold medalist do when the whole world suddenly expects something from her, not just on the ice, but in every room she walks into? What happens when the stage gets so much bigger than the sport itself? That question would get answered loudly, beautifully, and in front of the entire fashion world 3 months later. But first, Prague, March 29th. Ilia Malinin had been carrying the weight of Milan for 6 weeks. That Olympic collapse, the falls, the shock, the "I blew it," had followed him through every practice, every interview, every quiet moment. The 2026 World Figure Skating Championships in Prague was not just a competition. It was, for Malinin, a reckoning. He skated last. He had led the short program, again, just like in Milan, and the entire skating world held its collective breath. The last time Malinin had skated last with the lead, he had fallen apart. Everyone in that arena in Prague knew it. More importantly, Malinin knew that everyone knew it. What he did next was one of the most technically extraordinary free skate performances in the modern history of the sport. He landed 5 quadruple jumps, clean, massive, each one announced by a gasp of a crowd that could not believe what they were watching. He did not attempt the quadruple axel. He didn't need to. What he needed was to remind the world and himself who he was. When his score flashed, 329.40, his 3rd consecutive world championship title, the first male skater to three-peat at Worlds since Nathan Chen did it years before him. His rival, Yuma Kageyama, who had been there, who had spent 4 years chasing this moment, saw Malinin's score and immediately went to him, and they jumped in celebration. That image went everywhere. The redemption was complete. The story had an ending. Or so everyone thought. Because 7 days later, in New York City, on the steps of the Metropolitan Museum of Art, Alysa Liu answered the question the Olympics had quietly asked about her. On May 4th, 2026, Liu made her Met Gala debut, not as an athlete doing a publicity appearance, not as an Olympic champion cashing in on a moment. She arrived as a full-blown cultural figure, the newest house ambassador for Louis Vuitton, one of the most powerful fashion brands on the planet. The dress was extraordinary. Deep red ruffles, structured and alive, inspired, as stylist Katie Chien explained, by the very anatomy that makes Liu who she is. Vascularity, muscle tissue, cell structure. The gown was literally built from the biology of an athlete. It was figure skating made into fashion. It was Alysa Liu translated into fabric. And then the trolls showed up. Online, a wave of commentary dismissed the dress as just a prom dress. The comments were sharp, reductive, and entirely predictable. This is what happens to young women in sports who step outside the boundaries people have drawn for them. You win gold and they celebrate. You wear a red gown to the Met Gala and suddenly you need to justify yourself. Liu did not justify herself. She fired back with a clarity and confidence that felt distinctly like someone who had just stood in front of 1 billion people and won. She pointed to the artistry in every detail. She let the designer speak. She let the vision stand on its own. And then she went to the GQ afterparty in black wide-leg trousers, a leather vest, no shirt, and Nike Air Force Ones and broke the internet all over again. At one point during the evening, Liu laughed and said, "Everybody recognizes me. It's crazy. Imagine that overnight, suddenly everyone knows who you are." Here's what this week actually meant. Ilia Malinin and Alysa Liu are not just figure skaters. They are the proof of something that the sports world keeps forgetting and then remembering all over again. The athletes who make history are rarely the ones who peak on schedule. They are the ones who fall and get back up and skate better than before. They are the ones who win gold and then refuse to be boxed into what a gold medalist is supposed to look like. Malinin's score in Prague didn't erase Milan, it transcended it. The story of a man who said, "I blew it," and then came back and did the impossible anyway, is frankly more compelling than if he had simply won the Olympics on the first try. And Alysa Liu standing on those Met Gala steps in Louis Vuitton, not as a guest, but as an ambassador, as an artist, as someone who had earned every inch of that moment, is not a distraction from her athletic career, it is an extension of it. The ice and the red carpet are further apart than may look, but the courage it takes to perform on both is exactly the same. These two athletes had the week that sports dreams are made of, and nobody told the full story. Until now. If this gave you chills, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories that go deeper than the headlines. Drop a comment and tell me, who had the better week, Alysa Liu at the Met Gala or Ilia Malinin in Prague? I'll be in the comments. See you in the next one.